First, let us remember what is pattern deviation. Pattern deviation is an adjusted threshold to remove the effect of media opacity. To understand the idea behind this, let's consider we have a patient tested. We get the values of all the test locations and we arrange these values from the highest to the lowest. Suppose this patient got some cataract over the next years. The opacity will reduce the amount of light entering to the eye, and the sensitivity of all these points will be universally depressed year after year with the same amount of depression. On the other hand, if our patient has glaucoma, we know that glaucoma affects certain areas of the retina gradually till everything is affected. So every time we test the patients and we get the different values and we're going to arrange them from the highest to the lowest, always the lowest will be here at the bottom, regardless its anatomical location, but on this arrangement it will be here. So as the glaucoma increases over the time, the damage will be shown here in the bottom, and gradually more and more locations will be included. Suppose our patient developed both glaucoma and cataract at the same time. So over the years, cataract will affect the sensitivity of all the areas universally, while glaucoma will affect some areas, and gradually more areas will be affected, and by the end everything will be affected at the end stages of glaucoma. So if you want to get rid of the effect of cataract, this is the idea. Now here is shown the normal values of that age, arranged from the highest to the lowest. If we go to the location 85% and compare the numbers of our patient to the normal, the difference here is 2. This time the difference is 4. At this time the difference is 16. So every time we make such a comparison and the difference will be added. So this way we are going to reduce or remove the effect of cataract. This process wouldn't affect the results on glaucoma, because the receptors are involved in glaucoma are away from the location 85%. So the idea why they choose the location 85%, just to keep the affection of the glaucoma to the very end stages. But at the very end stages, when the glaucoma reach to the location 85%, this process will affect the glaucoma as well. Let's go back to our case. Here, both eyes of the same patient. On the right side, you have the impression that there is generalized depression and only localized changes in this area, and the left side shows generalized depression and localized changes in the periphery. Here, I highlighted with the orange the areas with values in the numerical part. All this area got values of 0. As you notice on the right side, the locations with 0 value are much more than those on the left side. See the adjustment done for each eye. Here, under total deviation, these values are -20. If you see the pattern deviation, the adjustment for the right eye was adding 20, while for the left eye the addition was only 14. So the values here, instead of being minus 20, became 0, while the left eye, instead of being minus 20, only minus 6. So this extra adjustment here, why it was done? Because the locations here with the 0 value are much, so that the area 85% was also included. So for the left eye, the areas with 0 value are still down here, and the location 85% is not affected. While for the right eye, because the damage is more, the location 85% was also affected. So here the values added was 14, while in this case the value added were 20. That's why you have this wrong impression that everything was corrected here, and you have the impression that this is the only area with localized damage. So to avoid such a problem, you need to keep in mind the occurrence of this possibility, and you have to look at the numerical values just to be sure, and also keep in mind that our interpretation of the field goes with the clinical examination. So in such a case, if you examine the eye, you will not find any opacity in the media, and you find that the problem is related to the decreased values of the different locations.